Hello guys, welcome back. In this video let's have a look on the layers panel in Photoshop. So here I've got some random things placed in the canvas and they are in separate layers, as you could see here. So when you take a new document, the first thing is this particular document has got a default background. Okay, this is not a layer, this is a background. When I click this button here, it creates a new layer. So you could see the difference between this layer and background. One thing is I can actually, let's say, if I create something in that particular layer, okay, now if you could see, I can able to move that object in the layer and then I can scale them. However, if I paint something in my background, moving this is not possible because background is not movable, and you could see it is locked also. However, you can double click and then get your layer back. You can convert the background into a layer and then you can move that freely. So coming back to the file here, so you got different layers. So the first thing is, how do I create a new layer? Is in the panel you have this button which is going to create me a new layer. If I don't select anything, okay, and then click, it will sit on the top, and if I select any of the layer and then click, it will sit on the top of that selected layer. So where this new layer has to be created, you can generally decide. Okay, and you can also go to this menu which is there on the top of the layers panel, and then here you can use this feature called new layer, and then you got a lot of options. I mean, lot of things this dialog box is asking, which you don't get with your normal layer button. Okay, so when you take this way, which is from the panel menu, or by pressing shift control N, you get this. So it's asking simple things, that is what you want to name. What you want to name to this layer. I'm saying it is paint layer. There is an option use previous layer to create clipping mask. So if you want to create a clipping mask with this new layer, so it will affect all the layers which is behind it, so that this layer becomes that clipping mask layer. So unless until you want to use clipping mask, you don't really touch it. You have colors which you can give. So here it's red color I've picked, and you have a list of colors here, and then you can choose the blending mode, and also you can choose the opacity of the colors. So once that is done, you could see I've created a new layer and it has got some red color, and then its blending mode is normal and opacity is 100. So if you want to colorize this layer, you can right click on the eye icon and then you can choose a color there. Okay, so we just want to separate the elements. For example, I want to put these two shape layers into yellow and text layer to blue. Okay, image layer to green, and background panels with violet. So I can categorize all this in colors. That will be very easy for us to work with. In some case, I can also choose my layers based on the colors. Okay, like that. So we have this coloring of the object, we have normal blending modes, we have opacity, and also we can change the layer name by just double clicking there, and then you can change the name of this layer. Okay, like that. okay, which you generally get it from this feature called new layer. So you got the layer, you got the color, you could actually change the blending mode, opacity while you are creating or after you have created it. So that's how you can generally do it. So uh, how do I actually duplicate the layers here? So one way is select the object in the canvas, just hold alt and drag it so that layer becomes a copy, okay. And to delete this layer I can right click and then just use this feature called delete layer. So it's asking whether you want to delete it. Yeah, I want to delete that layer. So that looks too tedious, right? So the other way is select that layer and then just click it here. There's a trash icon and then you can delete that. Or other way is you can select that layer, drag it onto the trash icon and it's deleted. But when you're deleting in this method, it was asking you whether you want to really delete it or not. It's a warning message. But when you drag that onto the trash icon, it's gone completely without any warning. So you could actually delete that way. And to duplicate the layer, as you could see, I have just in the canvas, I just hold alt and dragged it. However, you can generally do that by right click and then duplicate layer. And what you want to name it and all that stuff you could see. You want to move it into a new artboard and what name you want to give, all that stuff is there. So I can duplicate that way, or I can press Ctrl J on the keyboard, that becomes a copy. Or you can select that layer, drag it and drop it on the new layer icon, that also makes it as a copy. So there are different ways how you can copy a layer. And we have grouping of all these layers. So you can select a set of objects, like here all the shapes. I want to select them and press Ctrl G to group them, and you can name this as shapes, okay. And you can also do that just by clicking this button that brings up an empty layer, and there's nothing in that layer. You can click any layer and drop it onto the group, and that becomes part of that group, okay. So if I right click, we have an option called ungroup layers, and you can ungroup them into layers. So group is like you got photographs and you are putting it in a folder. So here you have layers, you are putting it in a folder, okay. So that's how you create the group. So you got this icon here. You can also go from this particular menu and create a group, and it will ask all that basic questions and then create the group there, okay. Talking about the next thing is the adjustment layer. So these are all normal layers, okay. And you have adjustment layer. Let's say if I click that, so there are so many color correction tools. You can choose any one of them. Say I'm going to use hue saturation. So this is a layer, okay, and this is a adjustment layer. So you can't paint anything on that, but you can adjust that. So you can adjust the hue, the saturation and darkness or the lightness. Now what is it adjusting? It is adjusting all the layers which is below that adjustment layer. For example, if I put it above this yellow layer, so it is only affecting that layer, okay. So if I put it above the text, it affects the text and yellow. So all the layers below this adjustment layer will be affected with this adjustment layer. So you can take as many as adjustment layers, like I can use curves, and then I can use exposure. So if I select this particular layer, okay, if I select this layer, I'm able to reduce opacity or influence of that adjustment layer to the below layers. Opacity works like that for them. And any layer you have this icon, which is basically useful to temporarily hide them and make it visible, invisible, and then visible. So you can do that way anytime with this eye icon there. So these are all the adjustment layers which we have put on top. And then we have this tiger image. Okay, let me hide this yellow, this text. Now I select this layer and then click this button called layer mask. Okay, layer masking is a method to actually make a part of that layer as transparent. And you could generally use a normal method, which is basically erasing method. Okay, you can choose eraser tool and then erase it. So it just, all that information is lost. When you save and next time when you open, you can't retrieve this information at all. So this is not a ideal way of removing things of any layer. So what is the best way is, you could select that layer and click layer mask. So this brings up a additional layer linked to it, which is a black and white layer, or called mask alpha channel. Okay, for that particular layer. So if this layer is white color, so everything is visible. If this layer is black, everything will become invisible. So what we do is we partially make this image into black. So you can use any of these brushes and then take the black color and paint it. Where do you paint? You paint it here. So I should actually use a brush. So I'm using a brush and I'm taking a hard one. Now when I paint it, you could able to see I've erased things here. Okay, so you might be thinking, okay, I've erased. So if I want to bring it, how do I do that? So you could able to see, for convenience, I'll go to the panel options here and make it a large thumbnail. And then you should able to see this is black, and wherever this this part of layer is black, that became transparent. So if I just swap the foreground and background colors, okay, I can press X on the keyboard and then bring up the white color and then start painting. So wherever you are painting white, that part starts revealing. Okay, so if I paint black color, that part becomes transparent. Okay, so press B, X to swap between black and white, and then paint. Then you can get back those pixels. Let's say if I use a gray color, then the effect is transparent. Oh, sorry, semi-transparent. So that is layer mask for you. You can right click and delete layer mask. So adding layer mask is as simple. So you can add layer mask from the layers menu, and we have layer mask. You have two options. One is reveal all and we have hide all. So reveal all creates a white color layer which makes everything as opaque, and if I choose layer mask, hide all, it brings up the black mask which makes everything black. Okay, then I can start revealing them back. So that is layer masking for you, which is there here. So let's move that aside and then bring back all the layers. Okay, then we have this FX, which is going to bring up lot of effects here, which I'll be covering detail in another video. Just to give an idea, I'm just using some effects. So I just quickly apply bevel, and then you should able to see there's some bevel effect, and I can soften it. I can also apply the drop shadow. Okay, and then you should able to see you got some effect to that particular text, and that is possible by this FX layer. Now one thing is, like when I move this text, the background also should move along with that. So how do I actually do that? So what you need to do is, you need to select the text layer, hold shift, and then select the background layer and click this button called link. Okay, so what happens is, whenever you move any of this layer, the linked layers will follow them. Not only that, you can transform it and rotate it, and everything will get affected with that link effect. You can click that and just unlink it back so that it will no more follow that. Okay, so that is linking. So I just go to the panel options and then choose this to the medium size so that you could see comfortably. The next important thing is bringing these layers above and below. So I'm selecting this layer. Let me put this tiger here. I should able to see this text should be above this jaguar image. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to select this text, then just click and drag it like that, and that comes above that layer. You can do it for any of these layers. You can make it back and forth. Okay, you can bring any layer to the top or bottom. So I use the keyboard shortcut, that is control and then close bracket and open bracket. So when I use this shortcut, it is triggering my screen recorder's visibility. So control and then open bracket and close brackets is what I need to use there to move this layer above and below. Okay, so these are all how you move the layers. The next thing is the opacity. So I have one thing to tell, that is, if you want to reduce the opacity of any layer, you generally use the slider, right? Instead you press 5 on the keyboard, that becomes 50%. Then put a 0, it becomes 100. You put 1, it becomes 10. 0 1, it becomes 1. 0 5, it's 5. 5 5, 55. Let me keep it simple. Okay, first one is, if you want to make any number which is multiples of 10, 20, 30, 40, if you want to get 40, press 4. If you want to get 60, press 6. 70, press 7. That's it. Now you want a non multiple of 10. For example, 45, press 4 5. 56, press 5 6, then it becomes 56% opacity. Now for 100%, press 0. How do you get 1%? Enter 0 1. Okay, so that's how you control the opacity with the keyboard shortcut. And we have a few options here which I would like to cover, that is lock options. So let me delete Okay, I'm deleting the layer mask for this Jaguar model. So we have this option called lock transparent pixels. Before going into that, I've selected the tiger image. And I just take a brush, and then it's red color. I'm painting it. You should able to see it's painting all over the image. But when I choose lock transparent pixels and paint it, it paints only the part of the picture which is opaque. Okay, which means this all information is transparent and the opaque pixels are painted. Okay, that's what this lock transparent pixels does. The next one is you have this lock. What is that? Lock image pixels. Now what that actually does is it will allow you to move the image anywhere. It will allow you to scale it. But if you go to image adjustments and choose colors or color correction tools, or you go to the filters, or you go for painting, it doesn't allow you to do anything to that particular layer. However, you can transform it if you wanted. Okay, then you have lock what position. Now this will not allow you to move this layer. However, you can paint, you can go to image adjustments and modify the image there. Okay, so that is a lock position. And we have the next option, which is related to artboard. So prevent auto nesting into and out of the artboards. So that particular layer doesn't it doesn't go with the other artboards when you create artboards. So I'll cover the artboards topic separately, and I'll be discussing that feature. And then we have lock, which is basically locked in all aspects. So you can't paint, you can't move, or either of them. Like you can't paint, or you can't transform paint, or all that. Okay, this is a painting only on pixels, editing only image, not moving the image. So all put together you could see in this lock layer. You can't do any of these things for this particular layer. So that is what you have. So these are very simple and important things in layers. And next thing is you could see search by kind, which means if I click the T button, you get all text layers visible. Okay, if you click this button, it shows only layer adjustments. So you are filtering your layers panel with the help of this feature. So if you just slide it, so drop down this menu, then you have name, and you can type the name and then find out that layer. You can find out by inner glow effects, or you can find out by the bevel effect. So you got different ways to find your layers. It is just like a filter tool. Okay, so this is what the layers panel has to offer, and it's not completely covered. There's a lot, but those topics need exclusive topics, so I haven't covered certain things in that aspects.